Yes, sir. Hello, everybody. Today, on 6th February 2024, Shri Kumarswami College, Ausa, heartily greets all the honorable delegates, participants, and dignitaries here at the virtual platform for the International E-Conference. The topic of International E-Conference is Breaking Glass Ceilings. Today, the college has organized this international conference. The purpose behind it is to enlighten students, teachers, delegates, and participants on the particular subject. The college is organizing daily webinar series and also national and international conferences. The college is run by Sri Mahanta Swami Shikshan Prasarak Mandal Ausa, and the college is affiliated to Swami Ramananda Tirth Marathwada University, Nanded, Maharashtra, India. The college is conducting number of innovative activities and webinar series, international conferences are the part of it. And these things have become possible due to the strong academic leadership, Honorable Principal Dr. Ambedkar sir, who is also the today's chairperson and presiding authority. I heartily welcome you, sir, as the presiding authority of this international e-conference. Today, I am feeling honored to inform all the delegates and participants that we have Honorable Keynote Speaker Adela Vladutoiu ma'am from Bucharest, Romania. She is going to deliver a lecture on the topic Breaking Glass Ceilings. On behalf of the organizing committee of the college and Sri Kumarswami College, Ausa, I heartily welcome you, ma'am, as the keynote speaker. I also welcome today's session chair, Anju Gandhi, ma'am, from PGT Mathematics, GGHS, Bihar, Fatehabad, Haryana. I welcome you, ma'am, as the session chair. And now, before listening the keynote speech by the chief guest, I would like to invite Honorable Principal Dr. Ambedkar sir for his introductory words. Please, sir.
Thank you, Professor Karar sir.
Welcome.
Today we are here in the international event, and our respected resource person Adela madam joined in time. We welcome her from our department and organizing team and of our international conference series. You might be still jumble that how short title of this international conference is, but I would like to say that because of few limitations on the YouTube, I have limited the short title of her speech. So the title is Breaking Glass Ceilings, a woman's guide to breaking barriers in male dominated fields. This is the complete title, and she is expertise of this field. So many experience with this international conferences of experience of conducting these sessions. So welcome, madam, to you. I welcome to all the participants, those who are joined from my college and out of institute. I welcome to the future resource person, Sophie, madam, who just joined here as the international delegate. And thank you. We will listen her. And before that, I would like to hand over this towards our Professor Karat, sir. Please.
Thank you, sir, for your opening words. Now, I do not want to cause any hindrance in between the audience and the chief guest, but I would like to introduce the chief guest briefly. Adela ma'am is seasoned business and leadership strategist. She empowers women leadership in traditionally male dominated sectors. She has 27 years of experience as a manager in manufacturing sector. She guides companies in its transformative journey And we have such a wonderful speaker among us to enlighten us through the keynote speech. So I would like to invite the keynote speaker for her presentation. Please, ma'am, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I hope you are hearing me well, and I
Yes.
hope you can, the sound is good enough to be understood. So thank you very much, Professor Karat, and thank you very much, Petkar, for the very kind introduction and for the nice invitation, kind invitation as a key speaker to this conference. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak in front of everyone. And I would like to say good evening or good afternoon to you. For me, it's afternoon. For you, I think it's a bit later. It's a Tuesday, and you have taken the time to listen to me speak about how it is to break the glass ceilings and to break barriers in male-dominated fields. The message I would like to share with you, it's a story of leadership and resilience and shared experience that I had, but women in general have in their career path. I see that in this event we have a lot of men as well, and that's very nice. Thank you very much for being here. I hope that this message, although it's addressed to women and for women, it's of added value in their career journey, regardless of the field they are in. I think for men also it's important because it can help for you to understand your women colleagues, to show empathy, and to help them, why not, to break those glass ceilings and to move forward in their life and in their careers. I think we have at the end some question time, so feel free at the end to address any questions. Okay, perfect. So let me briefly introduce myself. So my name is Adela Vladutoiu, and as you have said, I'm calling from Bucharest, Romania. I know that my family name is a bit difficult, so please use Adela. It's really easier. It can be used in any language. I am a pro-Romanian. I am an engineer by education, so I did 6 years of automation university. But I never worked as an automation engineer because I moved to other things, and I've become a manager and an executive by career. I am, of course, born in Romania, not in Bucharest, not in the capital city. I am a small town girl. Actually, I was born in a town somewhere in the south of Romania, and I lived in a village in that part of Romania. And I can tell you that I am the first in my family to go to university and to build my life outside the hometown and outside the village. The village is actually called Craiova. It has a football team for whoever loves football, and not so famous now. But when I was young, it was really famous. It was playing in a European championship. I started my professional journey almost 28 years ago. So 28 in February, I'm gonna celebrate this milestone. And I have worked in male-dominated industries and only in male-dominated industries. I have started in constructions, then I've moved to agribusiness, edible oil production more exactly. And for the last 7 years, I work in packaging industry, so in plastic packaging and in aluminum packaging. I actually started in HR. I was an HR manager for a period of time, but I moved quickly towards production and I became plant manager. I was operations director. These are very traditionally male roles. And for the last 14 years, I became an executive with roles as general manager and managing director. But I was also in the boards of the companies I was working for as either board member or board president. I run businesses with big turnover, $150 million, hundreds of people. And I can tell you that I really went through many changes and challenges. The crisis of 2008, mergers and acquisitions. One of the businesses I worked for was sold under my watch. Business turnaround. I took over a business which was not doing so good. Business restructuring, which meant also restructuring of people. Yeah. but also business growth. So the nicer part of the roles, leading more than one country. I was a managing director at one time for both Romania and Bulgaria, leading international projects. And I was also working on projects on something which I really like and I'm passionate about next to women in leadership, which is sustainability and circular economy. Now, I left corporate world at the end of last year, and I am a business and leadership strategist, and I own a company which is called Think Ahead Advisory, which is a boutique consultancy in Bucharest in Romania. And where I aim to help leaders and business owners to achieve their goals related to leadership and sustainability. I have an executive MBA from a US university called Tiffin University from Ohio. And I am also a candidate for a Doctor of Business Administration degree at the Swiss School of Business and Management. I started this program at the end of last year with the purpose to explore the interplay between leadership strategies and the development, implementation, and success of sustainable business models. So, as you have heard, many things which I have done, but I have to say that this journey into the executive roles and into the ballroom has not only been filled with success and accomplishments, but also setbacks and lessons. And this is what I would like to share during this discussion. These lessons, these learnings of life as a woman, which I have made my way in a professional world, in male-dominated industries and in traditionally male roles. But before I do that, I want to start with something. I know from Bedcar that, and I hope I'm not wrong, that majority of you, if not all present here, are teachers or are connected with the education sector. So let me tell you a secret. You'll not find this on my LinkedIn page. But my first job, fresh as university graduate, has been as substitute English language teacher. And I was teaching English in a school, in a gymnasium, in a small city close to my hometown. And my students were children in the 7th grade. And, school classes for every year, at least in Romania, were classed in alphabetical order. So you have 7A, 7B, and onwards. And usually the best classes, or always actually, the best classes are at the beginning of the alphabet. And the not so successful ones are towards the end. And because I was a substitute teacher, I was not a full teacher, I got assigned the second half group. So not the first. Yeah. So here I come, me, new, very young. I was 23 at the time. I had no previous working experience. After high school, I spent 5 years in university. And I had to work with children, which were going through many changes because they were basically teenagers. Yeah, they were skeptical of me. And they were really not so interested in what I had to teach them. And that was really something for me because I really wanted to teach them. So I started to think about ways in which to interest them, to get them to participate, to join the classes, to make it funny and happy. And that was the nice part. But I also had to discipline some of the children. And I decided to do so by involving the parents. And I'm never going to forget, I can tell you, the first time when I asked for a parent to come to school and to talk with me. And that parent came and I found her, it was a mother, I found her waiting for me at the door of the classroom in which I was teaching. Yeah. And it was a shock. Yeah. Because I asked for the parent to come, but I actually didn't really expect it for that parent to come. But the parent came, and I had to talk and I had to express what I had to tell to the parent, what I had to tell. It was a great experience, but it was also humbling and it was empowering. And I can tell you why it was humbling. Because I realized then that what I impact has influence on others. That's very important. And empowering because I realized that I can do good things. I can make good changes. I can help people. I was a teacher only for 6 months. Afterwards, I left in basically in February. That's why I'm celebrating 28 years. Yeah. So I left and I started a new role in the construction companies and in the business world. But I came back to school to get some documents, and that was around 8th of March, which is International Women's Day. And we celebrated in Romania, as I think everywhere. And my students, because they knew that I was coming, they were waiting for me. And they waited for me with small presents, which usually in Romania at least are given to women for that particular day, including some small bouquet of flowers, spring flowers. And I received so many. I had a large bag filled with them, which I took with me at home. And I was very proud to show it to my parents. And I had recent a discussion with somebody, and that person was asking me, what are the proudest moments in your life, And think about them, but do not think only about whatever happened in business and whatever success you had in business. Think about your life, because we are all more than our life in business. We are all more than our career. And I had 2 such moments in my life, and this was one of them. And I realized that this is actually one of the moments which I'm most proud of. And why? Because it was a very human moment. And it was one of those moments which kept me grounded. And I think it's very important for all leaders to stay grounded, to have such moments in their life. Because otherwise, it's so easy to get caught in the rarefied world of being whoever you are in your career, but forget who you really are and forget that the world is really bigger than you. So that is my story, which I wanted to share with you today. But coming back to the topics of today, so breaking the glass ceilings. I think we all know that the road to the top doesn't matter if we are a woman or if we are a man. It's valid for everybody. It's really not without challenges. There are many of them. But in my experience, it's even more so for women. And there are some moments in my professional life which really challenge me. The situations in which I ask myself, how do I behave? What do I say? How do I act? And I want to give you some examples. Maybe some of them will resonate with women here. Maybe some of them will resonate with both women and men here. But I hope you will find them interesting. So I remember such a moment when I was the sole woman in a meeting. I became a plan manager, actually. And I went to a big international meeting. And it was something like around 100 people. And I was the only woman plan manager there because the rest were men. That's one of these moments when you think, how do you behave? How do you act? How you talk? Because you want to be perceived as professional. That's very important to give you credibility. Then I also remember moments which I didn't like, but they happened when I was analyzed, or I can even say judged against my male counterparties. I was, for example, the only general manager in that company, woman. Everybody else was men. And then you have in this judging process in which all kind of biased and preconceived ideas are used and labels are being given, or maybe even worse, depends on how you see it. There are wrong perceptions about your capabilities, about your readiness for next role, and about your whatever project you might take or not take on, but not because of what you can do and what you know, but because you are a woman. So it happened to me as well. There are also moments which, again, I didn't like when I've met the double standard. So I was judged for the same performance, behavior, and attitude in a different way than my male counterparts. But there are also moments when, for example, entering into a new organization, because I was different than the people there, I had my set of values, it was very difficult to break through in that team or in that organization. And last and not least, I think there are such moments which everybody finds itself in, himself or herself. There is a meeting or there is an environment, and you expect open collaboration, you expect respectful communication, you expect all ideas to be welcome, but this is not what happens. It's exactly the opposite. And you'll really find some situations when those behaviors which you see there are really the antithesis of collaboration. And you'll find gossip, and you'll find office politics. So these are part of life. And in my 28 years, I have to tell you that in my 28 years of experience, because I would like to be 20 years old, 28 years old, but I am not, unfortunately. So in my 28 years of experience, I have been in such situation. And I can tell you that they happen not only when you are at the start of your career, when you are, just moving in a role, and you are young, but they also happen when you are established, when you change the company or you move up. I remember a situation when I was promoted and people to whom I was reporting to became my reports, and they are reporting to me. And people which were my colleagues became my reports as well, because I moved two levels up. And, when all these situations happen, you start to have all kinds of things in your mind. Sometimes you think about an easy way out, and that easy way out is not get out of the business. No, that's let me behave like that and that person, just copy this person behavior and attitudes, because maybe it will be easier. Do we have somebody wanting to ask a question? Because I have seen a raised hand. But maybe we wait for the end, as I have said, as you have said, Betka. So, as I was telling you, you might think about ways to simplify your life, simplify between brackets, because you'll see that this is not really simplifying. So you might start thinking about how to copy a certain person, how to sit tight and keep your head down, or how to make yourself small so others do not feel threatened. That happened to me, and I think it happens to other people as well. You might also start questioning your presence, thinking, am I really there because of my merits, because of my accomplishments? And that happens when you know that you are there because of that, because our mind plays all kinds of tricks with us in such difficult situations. And what I have learned is that really all these thoughts are wrong. Yeah, we do not need to think about neither. We do not need to think in this way, to put it bluntly. And this is exactly what we should not do. What we should do is to be really ourselves. Because if we try to be something than what we are, I can tell you, this is really the road to anything else other than success. So really keep this in mind. I think it's very important, and it has helped me a lot. Now, the question is how you move in these situations, how you do, because I talked about them, they happen, but then what do you do? Yeah. And I can tell you, you have to build the resilience you need to move in your career. Because without resilience, you will not have a career. So that's very important. You have to build resilience. And how you do that? By learning. And learning is a continuous process. It happens at all times. I strongly believe that we learn as long as we live. And I also strongly believe that nobody has all the answers for everything. And I don't have all the answers for everything. And I don't have all the answers in my hand at all times. So we must acknowledge that. And we must learn how to deal with these kind of situations. And second part, what we have to do is to build our strategies. Because these strategies will help us to move forward, will really help us to deal with situations. There are 5 lessons which I think are very important and are very important to me. I hope they are very important to others as well. I think all of us are having our own lessons and all of us are learning because, experiences are different. Not everybody goes through the same experiences as the other person. Yeah. Circumstances are different, cultures are different, environments are different, and we are all different persons. Nobody is like the other. But there are 5 lessons which I do believe are important. And why they are important? Why do I want to talk about those now and not about others? Because I think it's key to stop hitting our head against the wall. And it's key to move from that stage towards the glass ceilings. And lesson number 1, the one I want to talk about first, is that we do not need to act like somebody else to succeed. And in the case of women, we do not need to act like a man to succeed. Again, just be yourself, whoever you are. And I cannot emphasize strong enough, again, how trying to conform with something we are not is really a recipe for unhappiness, for discomfort. We need, of course, to be professional. We cannot behave in any way. Yeah, we need to be professional. We need to respect others to get respect, because behavior generates behavior and respect generates respect. And we need to respect ourselves first, but we need to be authentic. That's my lesson number 1. And lesson number 2 has to do with biases and labels. And what I have learned, and maybe it's going to sound harsh for some people, but I learned that biases and labels will always be part of our life. They happen in one way or the other. And we need to expect that, and we need to learn how to deal with that. And I know that is the normal desire to fight against biases and labels. So when you find yourself in a situation like I found myself and like other people have found, when a certain label or a certain bias was applied against us, you have this desire to fight against it. But I can tell you that I also learned that this is a fight we cannot fight alone. This is a fight for which we really need the whole community around us. We need more people. We need a village behind us. We cannot fight it alone. So the smart thing is first, learn that this happens and not accept it, but teach yourself how to deal with it. Build your strategies. Learn about the biases and about labels, and teach and toughen yourself to deal with it. Lesson number 3. I talked a bit about office and gossip politics earlier. And I can tell you, in my professional life, I work for various organizations, for different type of companies and in different environments. I work for a small local company in Romania. I work for a national company in Romania. I work for international companies, and I work for large corporations. And what I can tell you is that everywhere there is a certain level of noise. And that noise can have the form of gossip or can have the form of office politics, usually in large corporations, but not only. And when you find yourself in the middle, for women managers, there are complexities which are really heightened by the fact that we are women. Because whatever we do and say can be subject to scrutiny and can be influenced by biases and labels. But I have learned that this noise is there and exists. And we need to understand that. And we need to build our strategies on how to deal with it. And of course, that there will be companies, successful companies, people-oriented companies, which will create supportive environments, which will have tools to deal with that. But what I have learned is you have to support yourself first. This is very important. Learn by yourself to deal with things. And get help when needed, of course, but learn by yourself to deal with it. Thank you for the words. Lesson number 4. I think we all find ourselves in difficult discussions at work. It happens everywhere. Doesn't matter environment, doesn't matter the field. It really happens everywhere. Maybe we have even difficult discussions in other environments, not only and in other parts of our life, not only at work. And I learned something. I learned that there is this let's call it natural tendency to shy away from it. If you are not a person which enjoys this kind of discussions, and there are persons which are enjoying them, but if you are not a person which enjoys this kind of discussions, you might want to shy away from it. But this is not good. It's really very counterproductive to either postpone or to neglect them in the work environment. Because regardless with whomever is the discussion, and I can tell you it can be with practically anybody. It can be with a report, it can be with a colleague, it can be even with a manager. Yeah. You need to own the narrative, because if you wait for somebody else to tell something first, then you'll only be in the situation when you react to other people's narratives. You will not own it. And that's a cycle which is very difficult to break. I did some media training courses in my professional life. I think 2 or 3 of them, too. And in both of them, I learned from the media trainer that it's important to come first with the narrative. This applies to this situation as well. Come first with the narrative. Do not wait for others to embellish the facts or to transform the discussion in something else. So be brave and take it on. And the last lesson, which I want to share now, connected with the previous one, we will always find difficult people at work, and we must learn how to deal with them. If somebody thinks that at work there is going to be only ping, it's not like that. Not like that at all. But first, I want to clarify what do I mean with difficult people, or we can call it challenging individuals. It can be colleagues which are juggling with different priorities, conflicting priorities. It can be, team members which are having certain expectations which are unrealistic. It can be managers with unrealistic expectations. It can be colleagues with communication challenges. So really, this is unavoidable. You'll always find something like that, and people like that. And you need to understand this, and you need to, again, teach yourself on how to deal with it. So these are the 5 lessons which I really think are very important, and we can take them everywhere with us. We do not need to act like someone else, like what we are not. Biases and labels will be there, and we need to learn how to deal with them. We need to learn how to deal with office politics. We need to learn how to manage difficult discussions. And we need to learn how to manage difficult people. And if we learn all these things, all these 5, I think we can make our lives much easier, and we can move towards the more constructive things of our life and start building our career with agency, with intention. And if the time allows for it, I see that we are 43 minutes into the discussion. I want to briefly touch point on some strategies which are connected with the lessons I have shared. And I think these strategies are really important. The first strategy is be strategic. And what do I want to say with that? We need to plan our career path. We need to plan our next steps. We need to plan our leadership path. Because if we do not plan it, and if we do not take ownership of it, other people will. And we do not want to let others to decide for us. We want us to decide for ourselves. So that's very important. Be strategic. And second strategy, again, very important, I believe, it's to adopt a successful behavior. And I know everybody talks a lot about mindset, and mindset is very important because what happens in our brain is really important. Yeah. But behavior, it's what other people are seeing. They do not see inside our brain. They see behaviors. They see on the outside. And behavior means to show confidence, to show positivity, to show assertiveness. And also behavior needs to be to pay attention to the words we are using. I had a tendency, and I think this is valid for women, and maybe for other people as well. I had a tendency to say, I am sorry. I'm sorry for not doing that, or sorry for this happening. This is a negative word, actually. It may sound like we want to project something empathetic and nice, but it's not how it's read most of the times. And we need to be mindful of that. And we need to find other words. And we need maybe to look and to identify other words that we should avoid, depending on the environment we are in. So adopt a successful behavior, pay attention to how you show up, and pay attention to your words. And the first strategy is to position your value and to advocate for yourself. And what do I mean with that? If we want to move forward, we need to show and to share our achievements. And we need to demonstrate the benefits we bring to the table. This is not bragging. This is something else, because we are not talking about things which we cannot do or things we have not done. We are talking about what we can do and what we have done. But it's important to do it, because what I learned is that nobody can do this for us better than we can do it. And let's face it, nobody is motivated to do this for us as we are motivated, because we are the first interested. I'm interested in my career. I'm interested in my life, and nobody else can be as interested as I am. And then the last one I want to share with you today, very important. And I cannot emphasize how important it is, because I know it's a trap. It's to steer clear of defensiveness. I talked earlier about having to deal with difficult people and difficult discussions at work, and learning how to deal with them. And one of the traps here is to become defensive in such discussions. Like, I'm feeling that somebody is attacking me, or attacking what I represent, or attacking what I'm doing, or blaming me, and I'm becoming immediately defensive. And that's not smart. That's not smart at all. And I know it's a human reaction, because our brain, we most of the time use that part of the brain which comes from ages and ages ago, when we had to fight our way around in a very difficult environment. It's the elephant part of the brain. And when that brain is always scanning the environment we are in, it's scanning it for threats, and is doing that constantly all the time. And if it feels a threat, it gives you certain reactions like fighting or freezing, and defensiveness is freezing. And we should not do that. Instead, we should be professional, open-minded approach, acknowledge the perspectives which are presented in such a discussion, talk about collaborative solutions. This is something which we can teach ourselves to do. And it's very important to not react. So if something happens, do not react. Because reaction, it's unthought about, it's hasty, it might not bring results, and most of the time it doesn't bring. When something happens, we need to think about a response and respond afterwards. I remember somebody told me once, Adela, do not jump if you receive an email or something which makes you unhappy. Do not jump immediately and write a reply to that email. Give it some time and think about it. This is a very important really a very important lesson. So remember, don't do reactions, do the response. So I hope I hope you really enjoyed what I had to say, and this is basically where the material I wanted to present to you today. These are my stories for today. Before we go into something else, there is something which a quote from a person which a very wise person which I met recently, which I really enjoyed, and it has it means something, and I want to share it with you. Maybe it will mean something for you as well. And the quote goes like this: "We do not always have a choice in what happens, but we always have a choice in how we respond to it." So keep this in mind. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, ma'am, for your illustrative talk on the topic breaking glass ceilings. And you have told number of significant things which can be very useful for all of us in our daily lives to deal with many problems. So thank you, ma'am. Now the dais is open for discussion. So I would like to invite questions from the delegates or their views on the topic. Please, delegates and participants.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Bedkar, sir. Good evening, ma'am. Wonderful presentation, what you have made from your point of view. And really, the 5 steps, what you said, especially the ways to towards success, what you have said is wonderful. That strategy, what you have said, is perfect. My question is, sometimes the people, they wants to trouble us now and then. They are like a thorn. We cannot neglect them. If it is there, it is painful. If it is, we have to remove them. So is there any strategy, for such a kind of behavior which is not, you said, political? So what we should do in such instance?
Oh, okay, I'm not sure I heard very well because you have a background noise.
Yeah.
But I think you are mentioning about real difficult situations when with some people you do not get an understanding at all. Is that the point of your question?
Ma'am, my question is, some people, they are like a thorn. They are in the organization, and they are putting their bitterness always. And whether we have to carry them with us, or we have to neglect them us, or we have to remove that thorn.
Okay. Now I understand your question. Thank you very much for asking it, and I think it's a very good question. Yeah, because I have been in this situation. I think it's very important not to put a label. So you are talking from the perspective of a manager. Yeah, I believe, and I think it's very important for us not to put labels to others. So not to jump into putting somebody into a certain drawer or putting a label to somebody. We have to understand what generates that behavior, that attitude. I told you that people usually, and that's valid for everybody. That's valid for me, and that's valid for you. That part of our brain, which is programmed to scan for threats, it's always scanning for threats, always. And we need to understand from that person through discussions, open discussions, if that person is somehow in such a situation, maybe what happens constitutes a threat for that person. I don't know, maybe that person feels his status or her status is threatened. Maybe that person thinks that his or her future is threatened. So we are all sensitive to something. Some things are very important for us. So we need to understand this. And once we understand this, we can find a way to make it work. But that doesn't mean that there are no situations when certain people are simply toxic. I have been in such a situation. And when you, doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter how you try to make it work, you cannot. And once you reach that conclusion, yes, I think that you need to take that person out of your team. You need to, because in this way, you protect the rest of your team. Otherwise, their work environment will be toxic, and their work and their performance is going to be influenced negatively. So, but only if you reach that conclusion, only after you have made the effort yourself as a manager to understand the situation. As I said, it's very dangerous to put labels, very dangerous to assume something. We have to understand what is behind. And once we clear the fact that, yes, that person is toxic, yes, then we can, with a very clear conscience, we can move on. I learned something that there are, when you take decisions, and especially when you take decisions about people, there are some tests which you can do around to test your thought process and to test your decision. And I like two of them, There is that test when I look in the mirror and do I like what I see about myself? Or I'm going to explain this decision, I don't know, to my child. I don't have children, but I have a niece, which I love very much. So if I'm going to explain my decision to my niece, can I justify it? Is she going to look at me and think, oh, you are a bad person? So if once you reach a decision, think about it in this way. Stop, take a minute, think about it in this way. Make this test. And afterwards, yes, you can move forward with your decision. But do these steps first.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much. Means we have to analyze the situation. We have to see the his point of view also. Very important what you correctly mentioned. And then we can analyze the situation, and then we have to come to conclusion. And what you have said in your lecture, wonderfully you expressed that instead of reacting, respond the person as per the situation. So very good learning today, ma'am. Thank you very much on, means I'm a participant, but I learned a lot. Okay, so we would like to see you again in the same international series. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bechkar, sir, Principal, sir.
Is there anybody else with any question or any thought on the topic, please?
Hello, madam. Very much interesting, madam. I have think a lot of information. Have excellent presentation for beautiful, good, helpful for useful session, madam. That's thank you very much, madam.
You are welcome.
Any more question? Participants, I request once again, if you have any question, please. And now I think.
Hello, madam.
Yes.
Hello. Hello, madam. Hello.
Hello.
Ma'am, I have a question like this. See, in an organization, a person wants to keep their job safe, so they try to involve others in a negative way. How to tensions?
Okay. So I want to make sure I understood your question correctly, and I'm going to repeat it. And please correct me if I didn't got it right. So you talked about the case of a person which wants in an organization to keep his or her job safe, and because of that is behaving in a negative way towards others, correct?
Yeah, they trouble others so that their job will be safe.
Okay. Clear.
So how to come out, how to solve such type of problems?
That's again a very good question.
Yeah.
And it happens quite a lot. And it happened to me. And it happened in my organizations, and it happened in my teams. So I have seen it quite a lot. And I think it's again, it's the same approach I explained before. First, understand, because that for that person clearly it's either status or it's future, which is a threat. And that person feels, for whatever reason, or has created in its own mind the idea that his status or her status is under threat. Maybe the performance is lagging, but usually when people are feeling under threat, this is a cycle, and this is like a wheel. When people start to feel threatened, not only their behavior, but also their performance starts to lag. And then their performance lagging generates even more negative behavior. Yeah. So you have to understand what is behind it. And maybe that person needs some help in one way or the other. I have found situations when people were promoted, for example, in a role for which they were not ready. They didn't have whatever they needed. People were promoted for their technical skills because they knew the job technically speaking, but they didn't have the attributes of a manager and of a leader. And when they see that, because people usually see that, they again start to feel threatened. So you have to learn what is behind it. You have to deal directly with that person. Do not avoid it. Do not postpone it. Do the difficult discussion with that difficult person. Remember the lessons I talked about. If you postpone it, it's gonna be worse. So do the difficult discussion with that difficult person. Again, learn what is behind it. Try to support and try to help, and make your decision at one point in time. Because again, if this is a toxic person, you have to take it out. There is no other way around it. If it is a toxic person, you don't keep it. You take that person out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to know, you have to be convinced that it is like this.
Yeah. Yeah, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
There is a 9-box map exercise, which I used to do as a manager. It's a very useful exercise, and maybe you can use it as a manager as well. So you draw a square, and you make 9 boxes inside that square. And on one axis you have the you have the performance, and on another one you have the behavior. And there is always going to be that small square exactly where the 2 axes are meeting, where you have the poorest performance and the poorest behavior. Those persons, they need to be taken out. You might have people with very good performance but poor behavior. They are very dangerous, by the way, because they are smart, they deliver, but they are also creating troubles. So you need to find your way to manage it. There are also persons which are having very good behavior and very poor performance, and you need to see how you can help those persons. Maybe they are not in the role they should be. Maybe they are, doing something else than what they are skilled to or what they are enjoying to. But and there are also, of course, the persons which are having very good performance and very good behavior, and these are your stars, the ones you want to work with, the ones you want to promote. Again, here you have to be paying attention, because this will be people which at one point in time really ask and need for the next step in their career. But when you have the people in that small square, exactly at the intersection of the axis, and you have found that after you analyze that this is the case, poor behavior, poor performance, take them out without discussion.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much. It was a very nice information. Thank you.
Welcome.
Any question? Next
Yes, sir, I do have. Ma'am, thank you so much. I just wanted to add into the last question that it's not in our hand actually, because in job people are coming from various backgrounds. So it's not in our hand that we get the like minded people. And at times it is really difficult to even communicate with the person, like you said, toxic. Yeah, like I did find one toxic person, but he was not ready to communicate. Even I initiated, but it's like toxicity, dominated his personality, and now the person is not even ready to communicate, maybe whatever the reason. But there's no solution. It's just like, if you're coming from this side, he's coming from that side, he'll do something ridiculous, and then you have no choice because he's not ready to communicate gracefully. So how to deal with such kind of situations at times? I mean, it really affects your working atmosphere.
Again, a very good question. And unfortunately, this happens indeed. And I have been experienced this myself with people. What I can only say is that once you draw the conclusion, I already said that, but I'm gonna repeat it. Once you have reached in all good faith and doing your best thought process, and after you have tried. So once you have reached the conclusion that a person is toxic, that person needs to be taken out. You cannot do that alone. By the way, this is something important. You have to work with your HR department. You have to work with your manager, because you have to be, you need to find your allies, and you need to respect the process, which I think it's important everywhere. Yeah, to respect the process. So you have to do this. So once you have drawn that conclusion, once all your efforts were met with negative responses, then talk with your HR department. Share this with your manager. Don't do it alone. That's a big trap. Yeah, if you are in a management position, which one of us? Every one of us has a manager. It's not like, yeah, only God doesn't have a manager, but all of us are having somebody to look at our performance and to what we are doing. So talk, share. Don't let others to come with the with this topic. So talk, share yourself to a process which is not done correctly. But you have to take such persons. They have to be taken out of the organization. That's clear.
Okay, ma'am, I understood, but unfortunately, everything boils down to females. That it must be her fault. Or I mean, I understand what you said. I'll think about it. Thank you, ma'am. Okay.
It's not easy. It's not easy. Rashi, I think this is your name. It's not easy. Yeah, I have been there, and it's not easy. But you have to take this heads on. Talk with whoever I mentioned that you need to talk, and you have to arm yourself with courage and resilience, and you have to do what you have to do.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much.
Anybody? Thank you, Dr. Swanand Shukla sir, Dr. Rashi ma'am, and Sudha ma'am for your very good questions. And thank you, ma'am, for your answers and additions. Now, after this very useful discussion session, I would like to invite Dr. Anju Gandhi ma'am for her valuable words about the topic. Honorable Dr. Anju Gandhi ma'am from PGT Mathematics, GGHS, Bihar, Fatehabad, Haryana. Please, ma'am.
She have joined or not? I have a question because I have no communication from 2 days with her. That's why we will continue, sir.
I think she is not available. So I would like to call Dr. Honorable Principal Dr. M. Ambedkar sir for your closing remarks. Please.
Thank you, Professor Karad sir. There is background noise. I where I am sitting here. Uh, First of all, I would like to sincere thanks with Adela madam. First, she explained about her self life, then office struggles, then as a brave woman, how she did everything solved, and her experience with our colleague, or what she faced in her life in the office, how a woman can fight with that, how to stay firm in that. All these points we have listened from her, and it's a really a best inspiration speech to us, because the women Sudha madam and then Rashi madam, they have asked the questions as a family member, because we are attached anywhere in a family, sorry, in a office also there. So we get something like this problem for the female workers to face that. At that time, how she struggle, how she did overcome that problem with keeping self respect and the image in the office, it's very important. So the questions she has answered very perfectly, and in future also you will be invited on Women's Day, World Women's Day. You will be the speaker, because Dr. Swanand Shukla sir and others are waiting for your speech, because you are the liable women who can talk perfectly on that World Women Day. Thank you, madam, for your speech here. Thank you from my organization team, all my college and all participants. We will waiting for your new speech in future. Thank you.
Thank you very much as well. And have a good evening, everybody.
Just wait for
Goodbye.
formal vote of thanks, please, for 1 minute. Okay.
Okay, good. I'm waiting.
Now I am here for the vote of thanks on behalf of the organizing committee of International E-Conference and the college Sri Kumarswami College Ausa. First of all, I would like to thank Honorable Adela ma'am from Romania, who has delivered a very nice and illustrative lecture on the topic, and it is really very useful for all, and particularly for women to face their problems at the workplace. So, thank you, ma'am, on behalf of the organizing committee. Sincere thanks for your valuable time and for your valuable words. Thank you. I also thank Chief Organizer, Honorable Principal Dr. M. Ambedkar, sir, who has created international dias for exchanging our thoughts and views on various topics. And so we can get more things through such keynote speeches. So thank you, sir, for your efforts. I also thank active participants who ask questions and because of whom we can get added information, extra information, and it remains very useful for us. So thank you all delegates and participants for your kind cooperation for making this webinar series and international conferences very successful. And now I request participants, please do not forget to fill feedback link to have your certificates. And at the end, with the kind permission of chief organizer, I declare here that today's international e-conference is over. Thanks to all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Of Swami Vivekananda College of Nurses, who has
You are requested to fill the feedback link. Do not share this feedback link to others, because those who have joined here, they have a right